So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and I got sidelined once again. So I put aside all my bolt action figures, all my sharp practice figures, all my saga figures, and go full bore into Black Seas. You'll have seen a video, you may have seen I posted a video which looked at my first impressions of the new Warlords Black Seas naval wargaming rules and game, and I have to say I'm mightily impressed. I've really enjoyed the, admittedly only 2 games I've played, but compared to something like SPQR, which was a complete disaster in my book, I knew after 2 or 3 games, well literally 2 games I think of that was a disaster. This however is fun, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's meant I've had to divert into building some ships to play with. And you know me, I nothing but all in on things. So War Games Illustrated gave away some ships on the front cover. I ended up buying 3, I think. I had 1 mail order, and I picked up 2 at the airport, and I picked up another one in my local store. So I ended up with a load of them, plus then the starter kit for Master and Commander comes with 3 frigates and 6 brigs. And then I discovered, I also bought the 3rd rate box set, which gives you another 3 3rd rates. And I discovered subsequently to that, after I pre-ordered all the other stuff, I found a chap called Simon Mann who does 3D models, 1/700th scale, which these ships are. And I bought some of those because they were very reasonable. He generously printed them out for me for a price, obviously, but compared to the plastic price of the proper Warlord figures, it was considerably cheaper. And they're really nice little figures, nice little models. Anyway, these are Warlord's frigates. You can see, I may be able to see, I painted 2 up as British and 2 up as pirates. Arr, gotta say arr whenever you hear pirates, arr. And you can see I've also, let's grab that one, based it on a clear plastic base. Now the rules come with these funny wake markers. If you played Cruel Seas, you'll have seen the sort of wake marker thing that happens. Oops, move that away so it's actually in focus. There you go. You'll have seen the sort of wake marker things. The problem with them is it's really difficult to move the ships. So I've seen people go without them. You don't need them. It only really symbolises the speed you're going, which sail setting you have. You can mark that by you know, using a, I can use a dice. You can use any kind of marker to do it on the side. It doesn't need to have that. So we did away with it in our game. The other thing I found was these ships, especially these frigates, the bigger ships, are very top heavy, and on a sort of irregular shape mat, they topple over very easily. So I put them on these clear plastic bases. The aim is that obviously on the blue background that the sea will have, the mat will have, they'll work pretty well. So they are fiddly buggers, and I've tried my best to paint them. I'm an average painter, I can always say this, but I think they look okay. I've also done very minimal rigging. You can see very minimal. I've seen some absolute works of art on the Facebook page for these things. I mean, people have just spent days rigging the ships to absolute perfection. I just stuck some string, well, the rigging that they give you in the models, I use them. Half of these ships, oh no, all of these ships have used printer sails with the official Master and Commander set, and also the other sets you get from Warlords. They give you punch out card sails, but they're not a huge amount different. I'll show you some of the others that are different. But anyway, there's the first 4 frigates done. So here's my first 6 brigs done. So these are the next size down effectively. Again, 4 of them I've done as British, 2 of them as pirates. Now the pirate ones, try and grab that filler, so you can't really tell the difference, but those sails are the ones that come with the kits, so they're punch out ones, rather than the print out ones I've done with the other ships. I can't really tell the difference, to be absolutely honest. Again, put them on the plastic bases, just to make sure that they stand up better, and I'll just show you the size comparison. There you go, that's the frigate and that's the brig. So the frigate has what, 28, 30 guns. No, hang on, it's the other way around. I forget now. Anyway, the size difference, I'll put it down underneath. Size difference is quite marked, and actually in a duel you'll need 2 or 3 brigs to even come close to taking on a frigate. So there you go, that's how they work. They look pretty reasonable. I think they've come out, I'm quite happy with them. You know, could be better, lots of use of wash, but otherwise okay. So I mentioned 3D printing ships. These are 4 frigates that I bought from Simon Mann. They are 3D printed. They came with the sails all separate, so you just basically plug them in, but the hulls are basically printed as one, and I think they look really, really neat. These are, well, the 2 smaller ones are 6th rate frigates, and the 2 larger ones are 5th rate frigates. The only slight concern I have is that they don't really match up scale wise. Let me give you again, there's the Warlord's frigate. Sails are much bigger, the hull is bigger, so that's a little bit frustrating, but they're still bigger than the brigs. Okay, but only just. So that's my only slight concern with them, but they are so much easier to paint. So much easier to paint. Whoops, wrong one. Didn't mean to take that one off. I meant to keep that one on and take that one off. There we go. Yeah, obviously you don't have the fiddliness of all the sails to fit. They are all in one hull, so you don't need to glue them together. Not that the modelling on the Warlords ones is difficult, but just in terms of ease of paint and ease of use, these are very good. I've used some of the rigging just to put some basic rigging on them. That one's got a bit loose, which is a bit annoying. It's very difficult to get it tight. I mean, my fat fingers are crap at doing that sort of thing. But there you go, that's they're 3D printers. They're really nice, and I have to say I really enjoyed them. Now, one thing I would say, if you're embarking on a Black Seas extravaganza of buying ships and what have you, do yourself a favour. Paint them while they're on the sprues. If you're buying the Warlord ones, paint them while they're on the sprues. If you're buying these 3D printed ones, paint most of the ships before you put the sails on. They are fiddly buggers to get around, to do the painting around the guns, around the Warlord ones have guns on the deck. Oops, let's just see them on there. And to get into all those nooks and crannies with your paintbrush, when you put the masts on, is really tough. I found painting them on the sprues first, then assembling the ship, and then touching them up with the areas that need doing, and then doing the washes and what have you, was the far easiest way of doing it. Even with these 3Ds, I found doing the decks, doing all the sort of hatches and stuff on the top first, before you then stick the sails on. That made a big difference. But I'm quite pleased with those, so that's more of the fleet. So then finally, as for now anyway, these are 3rd rate ships. Again, these are 3D printers. Simon printed these off for me. I paid him to do it, so you know, it was a business deal. But they're really nice. Really pleased with them. There's 2 different types of third rates here. There's the extra large ones, which had 72 guns, I think, and this slightly smaller one, which had a 64 gun. But again, really nice ships, really nice figures, and being 3D printed, it made life so much easier. It didn't have the construction that you do on the Warlords ones. However, again, slight concern about the size. Line those up. Let me take the 2 off. So I've just taken everything else off apart from the Warlords frigate and this 3rd rate from Simon. And you can see the scale is a little bit off, I think. if I'm honest. I mean, if you're comparing the two, I don't know which one is the most accurate 1/700th, but if you've got mainly Warlord ships and then you add in some 3Ds, the scale isn't quite right, I don't think. I haven't made up the Warlord's third rates yet to have that actual comparison, but it just looks like it's slightly off to me in terms of the comparison. As I say, who's to say? I'm no expert to know which one is the exact right size, but you know, it is what it is. But there you go. That's and back on. Well, there you go, there's the core of my British fleet being built. That's the third raters. So I've got 3 more that came in the Warlords box, which I will paint at some point, and then that will give me more than I'm ever going to need for a game of Black Seas. Give me 7 third raters. Yeah, far too many. As usual, I've gone too heavy. I've also got a few more frigates to do and a few more brigs to do, and then that will be it until they bring out something like a merchantman or something like that. I know you can use the frigates as merchantmen, but I'd like to use them as they really were. So, so I'm really pleased with how they've come out. These ones, 3Ders, are not bad at all. The Warlord ones, similarly, very impressed. Very nice figures. Very detailed, fun actually to put together. I think the rigging and the sails fiddly as hell, but good fun, and I think the effect is pretty good. And the beauty is not going to need too many. So I've, as I say, I've put them all on these plastic bases. I've also, well, the frigates have got magnets in them, and these things have got magnet strip on the bottom, so that I can keep them safe in a box. Because they are delicate. I dropped one walking up the stairs with a couple on carrying them insecurely on a box, and one flipped off. Because I say they're very unbalanced. They're quite top heavy, and one flipped off and fell on the floor and smashed. I had to rebuild it. 2 of the masts came off. Something else came off. And they're not that many bits, so you know. Frustrating. So be very careful with them, and you spend hours, or some people have spent hours painting and rigging them and everything else, so you know, be very careful with them. But I think the overall effect is really good. I think the overall game is extremely good. Really enjoyed it. I can't wait to get some more games in. Anyway, hope you enjoyed my little look at my new fleet. Something new for me. I think these are probably the first ships I've got. But really pleased with how they've come out. Not the best, but they'll do, which is kind of my figure of painting. Hope you're all doing well. Loving to see some of the work people are putting in. There's some fabulous painting jobs, some really good work happening. Lovely figures to see, lovely games being played. So appreciate seeing everyone else's activities and all the support you've given me on the channel. Over 300, and I think as of today it was 330 plus subscribers, which is gobsmacking that people tune in to watch the rubbish that I post, but I appreciate it hugely, so thanks very much. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, make sure your dice always roll high or low depending on what you need, and I'll see you again soon. This is Dom signing out.